Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
응답하라 여친. Go to the into the she.
Back to the count to the chew. Hey, Jane, I missed you.
I missed you too. We need to take a deep breath in.
Oh, in. I'd already
Then
taken
out.
it. Out. Jane, I dressed as if I'm going to a funeral.
Also, it's giving very RBG vibes.
It's yeah. I am Wednesday.
You dressed your mood came out in how you were dressing.
Jane, we're gonna have 4 years of Trump. Whenever I say that, I feel like I'm gonna cry. I'm serious. I knew. I never thought it was gonna be easy. Some people had said like Kamala's gonna win it, like easy. I was like, no. I knew it would be very close. I thought, but what was shocking to me was it wasn't even close.
It wasn't close.
It broke my heart.
Were you surprised?
You know, I think 2016 prepared me. I don't think I was surprised. I actually accepted it. It was just heartbreaking. It truly was. You know, I think I hoped. I think from 2016, I thought there's no way. Like I thought that was all for show. And then when it happened, I was like, oh my God, this can be reality?
Yeah, that was a shock. Also because of how close it was. And I was in Michigan at the time.
Yeah. Oh,
and Michigan went to Trump. And that was wholly unexpected for me. And I did the thing where I was watching the returns, fell asleep because I'm on East Coast time, waiting for all the West Coast states to close and count their votes. And then when I woke up in the middle of the night, I was like, am I still asleep? Like this is not computing.
Yeah, this cannot be real.
And then when I went to work the next day, it was also a shock and very unexpected because I was in the minority. One of my colleagues and I, we were like, you know what, there are people here that
voted for him.
Voted for him.
Yeah.
And so all of that kind of that realization. And I think that was a moment for me that was like, things like this, it can happen.
Yeah.
So I think in my deepest level, like I had prepared myself.
Yeah,
because
same.
The way everything was going, the rhetoric, how late Biden dropped out and Kamala Harris took over.
Like we were prepared.
It could happen. And I think I was trying to be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. You know, and I think the media failed us last time. And I think it failed us again. So I was hesitant to believe media's projections that it will be close, but Kamala will come through. I saw so much of that, like everywhere I looked. The guy that predicted 9 out of 10 right before said it would be close. But I was like, you know, I think there was this air. I had this feeling that there was too much calm from the other side. Like, they were just stealthily doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
And so I think, no, I wasn't as shocked, but I think, and I don't even think it's about the policies, to be honest with you. I think it just was about racism and misogyny, the patriarchy, married.
And those two things was kind of the loudest messages that I heard.
Yeah.
When, I too tried to stay away from, becoming consumed by all the coverage.
Yeah.
And so, and then I went to bed feeling pretty heavy because I saw like the projections and the needle kept moving farther and farther.
I think by about
closer to certainty that it's going to go to Trump, right?
By 8:30, it was like, there's no way.
And then looking at the exit polling.
Yeah.
In almost every sector, white men, young white men, young white men without college degrees, white women.
White women again.
Yeah. So
Latino
it was the racism
men.
and the misogyny.
Yeah.
And I think probably one of the scariest things I've heard is that the Trump campaign went really hard with reaching out to young white men who felt isolated or blamed for society's problems.
Scary.
And a lot of first-time voters.
Yeah.
And that resonated. And I think they believed a lie,
Right.
But it was very scary. It was very scary that it was young male voters. And having a son.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think about, right now we have the influence. We have a lot of influence when he's living with us. But as he, starts to spend more time in spaces outside of our house,
right?
What kind of messaging is he and his peers? What kind of messaging are they going to get? As young boys growing up.
It's
here, and I do think we are in a bubble.
We are
in
so
Seattle,
in a bubble.
But still, I was woken up in the middle of the night with fireworks.
Oh my!
It sounded like it was coming from, like, above my shoulder.
Wow!
And I did that double take where I'm like, something exploded. Oh no, it's fireworks. But when I woke up, I was like, why was there fireworks? What were they celebrating? And then
Seattle.
Until it dawned on me.
This is a celebration for Trump.
Oh.
Wow.
And these people are among us. They're among us.
Yeah.
And I've heard from my friends who live in pockets of LA, in the Bay Area, and they have said they've seen like signs popping up where they hadn't noticed it before the election, and it's emboldening people to come out.
The kids absorb from hearing. And so I had worked on paid campaigns and also unpaid campaigns wholeheartedly. I mean, there's all this online discourse now like, oh, somebody's getting paid. I've never not disclosed. Like, in fact, my ads, it says endorsed,
you have
paid.
To. Yeah.
Right. So it's not like I've made it very clear where I stand.
Yeah.
And for me, when I wholeheartedly believed in her campaign, believed what she was for. So for me, if she had won, I mean, I would have been very proud. And I still am. I really, really am proud that I put what I thought was my part and put the effort in. But as the kids heard me working on it and stuff. And I remember, I don't know if it was after he won. And my son came home and he said, oh, yeah. We were talking about Latino votes. And they overheard and they're like, my Mexican friend, they voted for Trump. That's what Gavin, the 12-year-old, said. And I said, oh, how do you know? And he said, well, he said, I voted for Trump. And I said, well, he can't vote for Trump. He's not even. And he goes, well, what he meant was his parents voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, how did he sound? He sounded very proud. I was like, okay. Yeah. And then I said, so did you tell him that your parents voted for Kamala? He said, no. There is, like it's already in him to not get into that discussion.
Sure.
And I thought, that's sad,
Yeah.
But I knew we in America, like, you know what sucks, Jane? I think by the content that I make, people assume that I'm not happy here in America and that all I do is complain because I make, videos about critical thinking. But I am a proud American. And I know that I could not live in Korea. The way I even when I go back there, as much fun I have, I'm like, there's no way I could actually live here. I'm through and through, Korean American. But it really hurt my soul that we're gonna go back to the last time Trump was in office. It was the first time my kids experienced racism in such a, like, face-to-face way. And I'm just dreading of that atmosphere returning. It just hurts for what's coming.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be good.
No.
And but yet there is a part of me like, don't you think it's a little sus? Okay, like, didn't you hear leading up, like, oh, this is gonna be counting, it's gonna go on for days. We won't know until all the votes there's so much coming in, record number of turnout, right? All up to, and then it was just like, he won by a landslide. And don't you feel like there's a little something off about there? And I hear stories like this. I don't know if you've heard this. There was a woman, I don't know if it was from Michigan, but she did say, hey, like, I never thought about this until now. But I remember these two young people came to my door, had an iPad and said, hey, we're here to register you to vote and make it easy for you. You can do it right now with us. And then she just said, oh, no, I already have plans to go to the polls and do my whole thing. They're like, oh, okay. But they were going door to door, getting, and then she wondered, but now I'm wondering, how many people did they actually get, though, going door to door and giving the people the thought, you can do it right here with me. You don't even have to go to the whole poll thing, whatever.
Voting or registering?
Registering, and then they said to vote. She didn't even pay attention to all the details because that's just not what she was going to do. But, and then in the comments of that video, people were like, I volunteered at the polls and there were so many people that thought that they had registered to vote that could not vote once they got, because they had sworn that someone registered them, came to their door and registered them to vote, and they were not registered to vote.
That's us.
Right?
Yeah.
There's stories like that, redundant stories like that floating out there. And so I know.
But did they target, like, particularly, like, blue counties to do that? Or
it's the swing states. These stories are coming out of swing states. Yeah. So, and not that I want to give astrology power, but, like, there were a lot of astrology girlies and boys that were like, oh my God, this is the feminine rising. And like, this is the year of Kamala. Basically everybody was projecting Kamala's win. Media, I feel like usually the loud Trump supporters were quiet. And that it was very unsettling to me. Don't you think? Yeah. They were not Trumping in their usual Trumpian way. I don't know. I don't know if this is denial, where I'm just like, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
But there are very sus stories floating around.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we're supposed to be the Democrats that are like, we got to concede. We got to let us show how it's properly, done to accept the loss.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's opportunities where we can investigate.
Mm-hmm.
Am I just stuck in denial?
I think it's a part of grief, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you're still in that stage of grief.
I am.
I think I'm a little bit more cynical.
Yeah. You believe the numbers. We were just, I don't want to say blindsided because it's not like I wasn't prepared for this.
I feel like, didn't we know this about people?
Yeah.
Didn't we know this about
true.
other parts of the country?
That's true.
We are living in one of the most progressive states, progressive like cities, and even here, there are quiet Trump supporters, and they're not the ones who are going to be blatant and loud and obnoxious.
Yeah.
But they're lurking.
Yeah. Actually, Eddie Huang, the guy whose show Fresh Off the Boat is based on?
Yeah.
Did you see him? I don't know who he was talking to. I should have looked that up. But he was with this old white man. I'm sure some rich white man with a lot of power, whatever. And they were having, like, I don't know if he cooked them a meal. They're definitely friends. And he said, hey, listen, I know you to be a very factual man. So based on facts, I was actually surprised that you voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And this man spoke so matter-of-factly, and he said the quiet part out loud that was so honest. He said, yeah, because Trump is the candidate that will preserve whiteness.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
And he said it so calmly. He's like, and he said to Eddie, he said, I mean, is that so wrong to want to preserve your people? Like, wouldn't you do the same? We built this country to see our future generation go the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was
Yeah.
just like, wow, there it is.
And
somebody said it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it doesn't make sense, that's when you go back to the original intent, like in the creation of this country.
Yeah.
It was not built for people who don't look like Trump.
Yeah. And Eddie Huang said, but, who do you think built this country? And he goes, well, of course, our forefathers. And then Eddie said, yeah, but, and then that man said, oh, okay, well, who do you think built this country? The natives and the black folks, the slavery built this country. And also, Chinese immigrants built the railroads. We literally built the railroads. And he said, well.
Yeah, I mean, they put in the labor.
Yeah.
But they were not the
right. You were
masterminds, so to speak.
Yeah. And that's what the white man was saying. Well, you did the work that we put you to.
Yeah, that we put you to.
Yeah.
That is very
I got
sobering.
chills listening to that because at least he was honest.
Yeah.
That's where we are. They can talk about, how diverse this country is, but
it's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
Is what I'm coming to realize.
Yeah. It's built on white supremacy.
It's optics.
Yeah.
They will value diversity insofar as, anybody not white does not have the same power or equity at the table.
As long as you're
But
in
they
the
want
bottom.
it to look like
Yeah.
a so-called melting pot.
The optics. It's all about the optics. And then, okay, aside from the race issue, I'm also just freaked out about the planet. This man doesn't even, he believes climate change is, it rains, it snows, It's sunny. Climate change. I believe it. He literally said that. I feel so embarrassed. There's so much. There's so much. Oh, God. What are we going to do, Jane? What did you tell your kids? Did they ask any questions?
Oh, yeah, they asked because, you know, in 5th grade, they're learning about how the Electoral College works. And, you know, Bennett wanted to watch the returns, the coverage on that evening. And so I was just trying to help him make sense of the numbers they were showing on screen. Yeah. And I don't think they understand, you know, the complexity, all of it, right? And then it's very much like echo chamber where they go and they repeat what they hear kids say. And there was some chanting like, Donald Trump sucks, Donald Trump sucks.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, but then it's like, do they really understand why? And, you know, the significance of
well, at least I'm glad they're getting victory. That influence.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think my kids are around that. I think they're getting Trump won. Woohoo. How is this 2024? It is.
I think, yeah, I mean, because I think it's really hard to move the needle.
It really is.
And at the end of the day, we're not thinking collectively. You know, you're just thinking, again, like how to preserve.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, most voters are, how do I preserve, like, what's mine?
Yeah.
And for my family.
And that really showed me the white demographic is really strong in this country.
Oh, yeah.
And not only that, I mean, I was so disappointed by the Latino vote after all that garbage that he spewed out. I really thought Bad Bunny came through, but maybe it was a little too late in the game. But, you know, what's really disheartening is, like, even the Vietnamese Americans, they're the most Republican group out of the Asian American community.
Well, I even heard of conversations like at Korean nail salons, where in Korean, the business owners were chatting with each other. Like, oh, it's going to be bad for us if, you know, the Democrats win.
You heard that?
My friend heard that.
Actually, that was the biggest... you know, my friend was in Georgia working for the campaign, actually, for the Harris campaign. And that was the biggest, the Korean vote in Georgia all went to Trump. And they're all business owners.
Yeah, it's hard for me to blame immigrants and first-generation immigrants for buying into the, you know, this will be good for you to continue to work toward that American dream.
Right. After all, why did you come to America?
Right.
If not for, you know, to stand with the most powerful things that the white man built.
Yeah.
They really sold that. And I think the fact that, you know, Latino men bought that, like, if I vote for him, I'm with him.
Yeah.
Like you by association will get some of that power. But when you don't, you're that's the tragedy.
I know. I mean, some of the exit poll questions were like, I believe America's best days are behind us, or I believe America's best days are yet to come. The people who voted, I believe America's best days are behind us, majority of those people voted for Trump.
Of course.
Because they want this fallacy to come true, that we can become great again, as in we were great before.
And I think that's why the Kamala Harris campaign, we're not going back, actually did them a disservice, because these are people that do want to go back.
Yeah.
It's really the opposite.
Or I'm not saying, and this goes back to that issue of the labor's always on the oppressed to, do the work and bring people along.
Yeah.
But I read criticism that Harris's campaign didn't successfully engage men.
Yeah.
And that's like, oof.
But how do you when they hate women so much? When you are seen just automatically, the misogyny is so rampant when you're working, trying to engage with people who've never seen a female president, who think that it's going to be a weakness for the country. How do you engage with that?
I know, it's really hard. It's really hard.
I saw a dude posting a video about, like, what are we going to do when Kamala gets her period?
Right.
I'm like, are you fucking serious?
And Karen Tang, our friend, had a great
that's right. I saw her.
Since the beginning of time.
Right. Who have gotten you, sir?
Yeah, we've gotten things done.
How do you think you came to have a life?
We never had that luxury to just call in the week that we're on our period. No.
The disillusionment. They really think that when we have our period, we call in sick and don't show up to work.
Yeah.
Like, that's in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I think this one is not shocking, but it hurts more.
It hurts more.
Because you think that from 2016, we experienced, like 2016, people could say, we just wanted to see something different. That was the excuse that people gave to excuse voting for a racist, sexist piece of shit, right? But now it's like, no. That was never true. They really did want a racist and a sexist. And it's confirmed now. Like, you can't say this is something they just wanted to see. They've seen it and they wanted more of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that reality, that's what the majority of American people want. That really cuts deep. I mean, it's like, we knew it, but I had a guy on my Facebook post when I wrote, like, truly horrifying. He's this older white man, and he was like, well, not for the half of us. I was like, of course not, you old white man. And I know him because his wife is Filipina.
Yeah. Of course she is.
Yeah. And people think that I hate all white people. Like, I get accused that all the time. And I'm like, if you actually knew me in real life, the graces I've given to white people, this man in particular as well, like, I have not, I mean, it's clearly, like, looks like a mail order bride situation. But I've never, actually, I may have joked about it. But, he had a story of how they met. And it was like, she was alone on her birthday. And he offered to buy her a birthday dinner.
Is he a lot older than her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought, well, that's still sweet, right? And then one of my other
friends... Depends who
it
is.
One of my other friends was like, oh, Ellen, you don't dress like that and sit alone for a birthday dinner. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to hear this.
I know.
Over the years, because I like her.
Yeah.
I don't blame Asian women. It's a very complicated issue, right?
Yeah, it's complicated. And our friendships are not based on, I mean.
I know women who married old white men.
Yeah.
But I don't blame them because in their culture, this is a way they've saved their family.
Sure.
And it's sad, but I do see it as a sacrifice for them. I mean, people are all like, "Oh, they just want the money." I'm like, "Yeah, get it." You know, like you think this is not an exchange? You think the old white man isn't getting plenty? So I don't fault the Asian woman. I will stand by her no matter what. But it was funny because in the comments, I mean, I was just like, I can't even deal with this guy right now. Like, I'm too in my emotions. But all my other friends were like, who the hell are you? And they were just going into town on him. And then he came to say, well, what do you think he said, Jane? First thing he said, well, you know I'm married to an Asian woman. Then the second thing is, you know I've come to I bought Ellen's comedy show tickets and I bought her books. I've supported her. I'm like, wow. So now you're going to throw that in my face. Like as if you didn't do it for yourself. Like you're some kind of white savior.
Right.
There it is.
Well, that's the thing is, I feel that overwhelmingly, if you're not one of those blatant Trump supporters, you have your righteous reasons for why you had to vote that way. Because you're the exception. And it's like, you're not the exception.
Right. You're so not the exception. I mean, he's textbook. I'm like, if you were to look up Trump's supporter, it'd be you in a dictionary. Like, don't act as though there is something. You know what really pissed me off is if Kamala had won, I would not be going to an old white man's Facebook post that said, I'm pissed off.
Yeah. And then you're like, only
neener.
Yeah. Only half of you.
Yeah. I would never do that.
No.
And it just goes to like, this is exactly.
But they just love taking up space wherever, and they think every space is theirs to for the taking.
And that's what they're all about. Like the fact that they think their space is dwindling. Yeah. Because if you make space for BIPOC folks and women, somehow it's taking from their space.
Yeah.
They can't fathom the idea there's plenty to go around. Scarcity mindset. And that's why, we are where we are.
Yeah.
As if we have success, it's their success that was taken. That's why there's so much animosity and fear and hatred. Where do we go from here, Jane?
Yeah. It's been a week. I mean, I think I've just been finding shelter in like my friendships, and we're doing a family dinner this weekend. We're like, we just need to be with each other right now.
That's true.
With our close friends. And so we're doing like, let's just break bread with people we love and
be in our safe space.
Yeah, be in our safe space. I've kept very distracted. I want to say like mindfully distracted.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I am not reading Facebook posts or, I did punish myself by reading too many columns the next day. But other than that, I was like, I'm going to keep doing what I feel I can have impact in. You know, I mean, we are still entrenched in this ongoing public school budget crisis in Seattle.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
and
you are.
It has been very discouraging because it's not a democratic process.
Yeah.
And when you're particularly I had a lot of
We're finding out
anxiety.
nothing is.
Oh yeah, nothing is. And in an election year, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, like by the time winter break hits, we're either gonna know what's going to happen to our school, and we will have a new president. And I don't know if I can deal with those two things if it doesn't reflect, what I want for, our community.
Right.
And I'm also grappling with the fact that we live in an extremely privileged, wealthy neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I try to resist, am I exercising privilege or am I challenging the fact that this hasn't been a democratic process?
Wow.
But, overwhelmingly, it's been very exhausting because what we've been hearing from the people in power at the district and board level is we don't really want to hear from your part of town.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And so that's been difficult. It's been difficult because it's like a weird, like, fighting. It's like, okay, can multiple things be true at the same time?
Right.
Can people who do have the power and privilege speak up? Because there are families who are marginalized and who will be severely impacted. And my family is not going to be impacted a lot if our school closes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be okay. And the majority of my friends at that school will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But shouldn't we still question, like, how is this achieving your goals when you say your goal is to ensure equity for all students? And, but there hasn't been like ample addressing of those questions. And it's just like, this is what we're doing. These are the guiding principles, and that's that.
Yeah, get on board or get out of our way.
Yeah. And so then that's really hard, and that's really discouraging because I'm trying to engage at the lowest of levels.
And it's crazy because at all the schools, they're looking so much for parent support and parents to be involved. And you're so in the trenches, like ready to work.
I'm like, you're not going to hear from them. The people that you want to prioritize, you're not going to hear from them because they don't have the lifestyle you think that's going to allow them to go to a weeknight board meeting and make their voices heard. You put in so much red tape to be able to sign up for public testimony to get 2 freaking minutes in front of you, and it's not even a two-way conversation. Right? And so in the way that you've made this system, you will hear from mostly white adjacent, like Asian American families with the resources and the bandwidth to do that and show up. But are you going to the communities? Are you seeking out?
Right. They don't make time for that.
No.
Right.
So that's been very frustrating. And I think, I was like, well, if it's so hard to engage at the lowest of levels, what am I expecting from a presidential election?
Oh,
it's
that's the reality.
So it's been that kind of a week with dealing with the reality, and then of course, what inevitably happens is people burn out, or they realize, what, it's not gonna change things much for me. So I'm good. I've done as much as I wanted to.
And that's the thing.
And I'm tapping out.
Yeah, I'm recognizing, we are very, very lucky to be. And the silver lining is that Washington State was one of the few states that really went Democratic. And like, we're going to be fine. Yeah. We're worried about, the marginalized in the red states. And I think that just shows we have a concern for our greater community. But luckily, we are in one of the, safest, considering the whole country.
Yes. I agree fully with that.
Yeah.
And I take heart in that.
I think we were the only state that actually saw conversion of Democratic votes. We
elected Bob Ferguson.
Yeah.
And so there's some newfound hope. Like, let's put the pressure on him. Let's write to him and say, hey, we need more public education funding.
Yeah.
If you guys are not talking about this enough.
We need to engage more locally, and maybe that's all across the board for all the states.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always what, like I've known is important to engage locally. And you've been very, I've learned a lot from you for advocating, real changes that will impact your communities that you live with are going to be from local,
Yeah.
So at least we have that going for us. And, maybe it really does. Maybe it's a time where we have to deal with the ugly truth.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a time in history where there were no ugly truths to live with, right? And I'm trying to think, okay, even in my parents' time, like they've dealt with like horrible leadership in Korea, right? And it is just a fact of life, and like the resistance is a fact of life.
Yeah. And you learn a lot more through the difficult times. I mean, simple analogy, like my tennis matches. I don't learn as much when I win. But when I lose, it's like the thing I can't stop thinking about, right? Like, what could I have done different? How did we get here? Where did I get too relaxed? The things that make you think twice are these moments. So maybe, we as a country stop lying to ourselves that this is... I mean, hey, I've always been that girl, though.
You have, yeah. I will say, like, this makes me extremely uncomfortable. And I'll probably lay low for a while.
And I think that's okay.
Like, I don't want to be in social media spaces where I'm going to invite this unwanted...
There's definitely
unwanted engagement,
right.
And
you're the most
unproblematic
content creator out there.
They still come, and you know what I mean? But I'm like, I don't have, right? I don't want to do that. I just want to like protect my peace.
You're the most like wholesome, you make relatable content for any mother out there, and you still get shit. Yeah. And I'm, me, but that's me talking about people, and that just irks them to no end. But that's the thing. It doesn't matter. So I will say it doesn't matter. No matter how nicely packaged you are or how even-keeled you are, you're still going to get shitted on. So you're going to lay low with that. And I'm going to be like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what we do. To them, we're not them.
No.
We're not one of the girls or one of the guys.
Yeah.
We'll never be.
No. But
we still have to have hope for our children. Your face right now. 동심은 표정이야. Her face was like, oh, she just felt.
Yeah,
I said she just tasted like shit.
Yeah, I don't know how to. Gosh,
you're cynical.
I don't think there's. I am very cynical.
I know.
And so I don't think there's like. I can't do the relentless positive thing. I can't do that.
I know. We just have to get through.
Yeah.
We just have to survive. Okay, there you go.
I told Ruby she can't have a play date with this girl because Ruby said, oh, she came up to me and said konnichiwa.
Oh.
And can I have a play date with her? I was like, nope. And she's like, why not? And I was like, because she said konnichiwa. And she's like, what does that mean? And I was like, she's like, it just means hi. And I'm like, yeah, in Japanese. And why does she say that to you? And I said, I'm sorry, no, I don't want her in my house.
And what did Ruby say?
She didn't like resist, but I'm like, I don't care about this person. Like,
so
I have no tolerance.
That's the shit we grew up with, and here we go. That's why I'm preparing like I saw somebody make a post about like, this gay guy was like, I'm going to learn how to talk straight because Trump. And then I was like, I should learn how to prepare too.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody says go back to China, I'm like, buy me a ticket. First class, please. Ready. I'm like, I'm going to have to come back with some clapbacks.
Yeah.
Prepare it and have it for a rainy day. Isn't that sad? But your kid's already getting it.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. And we're the ones who are gonna like I don't know, like snatch their rose-colored glasses from them. Right? To an extent, our parents did that for us too, but
it's growing up. Sadly. It's growing up.
It's just things are their eyes are becoming open to the complexity of It's no longer like the messaging in kindergarten when it was like, oh, you know what? You're Korean and you're Asian and you belong here.
Yeah.
It sounds so cynical, but, I think I want my kids to know
you want to protect
reality.
them from not protect. You want them to deal with reality as is reality.
Yeah, I don't want them to like move around like naive, thinking they have like just as much value, they can take up just as much space, and they'll be like that will carry the same weight when it doesn't, And so just teaching them to recognize things. I probably should have explained that more to the kids because they were like, what's wrong saying hi in Japanese? I'm like, because you're not, and you never said you were.
Yeah.
And why would they do that?
Yeah.
To be funny, to make a point, to connect with you? Like, I don't understand.
I think you need to revisit that and also tell them if they are truly a caring friend, they would know that you're Korean. And would have learned how to say it in Korean. Taken the time, and real friends take the time to know who you are.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a sign of respect, and sign of honoring someone. As the same way you wouldn't just be like konnichiwa to them. Ugh. Here we go, Jane. Here we go. But you know what? We are resilient people.
Yep.
Our parents have survived worse. We carry on.
Yep. And we carry on. We find safe spaces like the one we have here.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
If you wondered if we're going to renew or not, we're definitely going to need each other.
Yes.
So hold tightly to your friends and get in that safe space and make sure you are seen and heard by the people that love you. That's how we will get through the next 4 years.
Yes.
No konnichiwa, bitches.